Hey guys, this is Matt Brunet, and welcome to Movie News Weekly, hosted by Filmbook. Now, first off, let me just say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all. But before we begin, let's take a look at what we got in this week's news, which includes tickets for Star Wars was clearly on everyone's Christmas list. There might be a disturbance in the Schwartz. You'll now be able to step on Tarantino's name. How a movie is running away from Star Trek like it's a killer rabbit. Johnny Depp is crowned the Man of the Year with too much money. It's never too late to nominate The Force Awakens for Best Picture. Disney and Universal are this year's definition of profit. Colossus now has an identity. Tupac and Biggie Smalls got their actors to revive them. And how regrets can really bite you in the butt. So, with that said, let's get things started. Santa must have been delivering a lot of Star Wars tickets this year. In fact, I can imagine he would snap if he sees another BB-8. Star Wars The Force Awakens is continuing to implement new records, including the highest grossing box office Christmas weekend with a total of more than $150 million. Despite Finn and Rey making themselves very comfy in the top spot, some of the new movies this week actually received a very nice present. The Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg comedy Daddy's Home started great in second place with almost $40 million, with the Jennifer Lawrence film Joy standing behind with almost $17 million. Meanwhile, Concussion just broke out Point Break and made it to 6th place with $11 million, while the latter got more than $10 million and in 8th place under The Big Short. The only movie that received coal this year is, surprisingly, Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight with just $4.5 million, resulting it in 11th place right under Creed. The awakening of the Force is so strong that it might even awaken the Schwartz. In an interview with the Adam Carolla podcast, Mel Brooks revealed that he is highly interested in making a sequel to his 1987 Star Wars parody, Spaceballs. No other information is confirmed about the sequel. Heck, there's not even a confirmation if this is even happening in the first place. But one user on Reddit mentioned that the title of the movie would be Spaceballs, The Search for More Money, and that Brooks would like to have the remaining cast return, including himself, Rick Moranis, Bill Pullman, and Daphne Zuniga. If he knows a way to bring back Joan Rivers and John Candy from the dead for this, that would also be very great. With all the amazing films he has done in the past decades, it's about time that he gets immortalized on the streets of Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino, the director of such films as Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, Django Unchained, and much more, is now the 2,569th star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The ceremony was held in front of the TCL Chinese Theater, with regulars of Tarantino's films, Christoph Waltz and Samuel L. Jackson, accompany him during that time. His movies would go on to win several awards, including 2 Oscars for Best Director with Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Basterds, and also one for Best Original Screenplay for Django Unchained. His most recent feature, The Hateful Eight, got recently released in theaters. Even the Knights of the Round Table are scared of facing with the Starship Enterprise. Warner Brothers decided to delay Guy Ritchie's King Arthur in order to avoid competition with Star Trek Beyond. Instead of the original July 22, 2016 release date, they moved it up to February 17, 2017. Not only is this to get away from fighting with Kirk, but this is also because Warner Brothers actually has some good luck with some February films, including The Lego Movie and Kingsman: The Secret Service. The only competition it will have now will be Bad Boys 3 and The Maze Runner: The Death Cure. As for that empty July 22nd spot, New Line filled the gap with their horror film Lights Out. However, not only will it face off with Star Trek, but it will also be competing with Ice Age: Collision Course. What was once the position that was ruled by Adam Sandler for 2 years, now the baton has been passed for making more money than they probably should. Johnny Depp has been named 2015's most overpaid actor by Forbes. Last year, he was in second place behind Sandler, but since Pixels flopped and he moved on to Netflix, it's now Depp's turn to be recognized for being paid too much money. For every dollar he earned when he was in Mordecai and Transcendence, the movies only returned with $1.20. Following in second place is Denzel Washington, where The Equalizer only got $6.50 for every dollar he got for being there, and Will Ferrell got the bronze, where his movies, Get Hard and Daddy's Home, only got $6.80 for every dollar Ferrell got paid. Some of the other runner-ups this year include Liam Neeson, Will Smith, Channing Tatum, and Ben Affleck. Okay, so maybe it's a bit last minute, but let's face it, it's just too good to say no. After announcing the official nominations last week, the Broadcast Film Critics Association decided to add Star Wars: The Force Awakens on its list of nominees for Best Picture. The reason why it wasn't there in the first place was because Disney decided to not screen the movies to critics for their representative awards, in order to keep the movie's secrets until it was actually released. It wasn't until this week that the BFCA polled with their members to see if the film was worth putting on the list, which resulted with a tremendous yes. Believe it or not, this is not the first time that the Critics' Choice Awards had to put an 11th Best Picture nominee after the list of nominations were announced. The same thing happened back in 2000 when Castaway was added to the list of nominations for Best Picture of that year. In a year filled with big movies, it's no wonder how some companies are really cashing it big. For the first time in forever, Disney made more than $5 billion in ticket sales in one year. This is thanks to their highly successful films, including Avengers: Age of Ultron, Cinderella, Inside Out, Ant-Man, and now Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Each of these films made more than $500 million at the box office, and even Age of Ultron and soon The Force Awakens both surpassed the $1 billion mark. However, the one that managed to win this year entirely was Universal, with movies like Jurassic World, Furious 7, and Minions making more than $1 billion each, along with plenty of other successful films under their belt this year. Universal has accumulated a grand total of $6.8 billion in ticket sales. Rather it be with Universal's strong franchises or with Disney's big connections with Lucasfilms and Marvel, I'm sure we'll be seeing more financial success like this in their future. Time to figure out who is that guy under the metallic shell. Entertainment Weekly revealed that Stefan Kapicic will play the role of Colossus in the upcoming Deadpool film. Despite having stuntman Andrei Tricoteur already playing him with motion capture, Kapicic was said to be filmed and have some dialogue recorded for the movie. In the trailers, we can only see Colossus in his metal shell form next to Negasonic Teenage Warhead. This was announced at the same time when a holiday trailer for the trailer to say that an NBA game will show a sneak peek was published online. Deadpool will be talking his way to theaters on February 12th. This is one of those things that you keep hearing about and you expect one thing, but then it comes out another. The Tupac Shakur biopic, now called All Eyes on Me, got two actors to play the lead roles of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. Over the past months, many people have been speculating that the lead role will be played by Mark Rose, the same guy who played Tupac in Straight Outta Compton. However, this is not the case. Instead, they brought in a newcomer by the name of Demetrius Shipp Jr., who has been posting photos on set on his Twitter account. As for Biggie Smalls, he will be played by Jamal Woolard, who previously played Biggie in the 2009 film Notorious. The movie will be the first feature film to be directed by Benny Boom. And now it's time to play a game of Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda. In an interview with the Washington Post, actor and Abrams' lifelong friend Greg Grunberg stated that for the first time in his life, J.J. Abrams feels so much regret to not continue the directing job for Star Wars Episode 8. The big reason is because the script of it is mentioned to be that good. Even Daisy Ridley, who played Rey in The Force Awakens, agrees with that. Grunberg stated he read it and said something he never ever says. He said, "It's so good, I wish I were making it." He may have said something one time on Lost with Damon Lindelof, but I never hear him express regret like that. We'll just wait and see how good Episode 8 really is when the film will be released on May 26, 2017. And that's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to head on down to film-book.com for all the latest movie and TV news, along with their columns on the box office and their theatrical release schedule. Also, you can follow them on whatever social media you'd like. And while you're at it, you can follow me on my YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter if you're more into stuff like animation, Disney, and my weird sense of humor. If you were watching this on YouTube, then hit that like button and come subscribe to us, and also leave a little comment on what you think on the news this week. If you were listening to this on a podcast on iTunes or any other podcast service, then don't forget to rate and review what you just heard. Tune in next time for another round of Movie News Weekly, and until next week, see you later, dudes!